Imagine a world without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. UIC.
Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right.
UIC Liberty TV. Change you can trust.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to a morning edition of UIC Liberty TV. It's my pleasure to be on with you this morning to talk about a very serious matter. We're going to be looking at the BPO sector, and in particular, the story of one member of that sector, one staff member, one, what do you call them now, what do you call them? I think they have different names for persons, associates, nice names like associates, that they call them. But at the end of the day, we want to get down to the bottom of what it really means, what's really happening, what's really going on in the sector. I am very happy to see that a number of you have taken the time to join us early this morning to look at it. I saw some comments going before we started. Good morning, cool guy, good to see you on. And good morning, fellow Uniters across the world. Yes, one Jamaica, stronger together. Good morning, Miss Powell, VP Powell. Good to see you on. Greetings. So one of the comments I saw earlier was from Sonia Ellis. She was asking why we have two programs scheduled for the same day and time, I guess. But it's two different times, Miss Ellis. One is at 7 a.m., which is now, and the other one is at 7 p.m. tonight, where we look on a diaspora member and how she has been successful. Thank you, Carl Roddock, for being on, my schoolmate. You'd like to know the name of the company involved. We're going to talk about that shortly. And cool, what is it now? Good Vibes. All places in Jamaica that's controlled by government is very slack, says Cool or Good Vibes. That's so correct. Whether it's the hospital, the tax office, the NHT, the Ministry of Health, you name it, is pure slackness. Very inefficient, very painful to deal with. I'm always amazed at the fact that we've had these two parties for 80 years and they can't seem to manage anything well. Whatever they touch just seems to be pure misery and headache. Good Vibes also said we need to stop paying toll because the taxes that we pay should provide us with better roads. Absolutely. So we're being taxed twice. We're taxed originally. We've been taxed so much. You'd be amazed how much billions of dollars we have paid for monies that our governments have borrowed, wasted, corruptly stole, and then put it on our backs in terms of extra taxation in order for us to pay back these massive debts. And then they bring in people from outside to build roads because we can't build roads, and then tax us by paying tolls, by forcing us to pay tolls. So yes, Good Vibes on the road this morning. He says 6 months Bellevue Hospital don't have any water. Nurses have to be holding pee as toilets won't be able to flush after using. My goodness, what a pain, what a pain. Good morning, Roland Forbes. Good to see you. Magalian, good morning to you as well. Kifa Ben Israel. Interesting name. Good morning. Good to see you on. Mark Campbell. Good morning to you as well. All right, let's get right to it. I have my guest standing by. We're going to call him this morning John Doe because we don't want to reveal his name or his identity. So he's going to be disguising his voice and you won't be able to see him. But he's going to share with us what's happening in the BPO sector, and in particular, the one for which he works, and a number of his colleagues. He informed me earlier on that he wasn't an eyewitness to the staff passing away, but it's within the same building, so not in his department, but another department. One of his colleagues passed away on the job, and the story around that, and what he thinks might be the related factors to that, and give us an insight into what is happening inside of these buildings. But before he comes on, let me just share with you briefly a video from TVJ that will show you what the sector thinks about itself, and the kind of statements it makes about itself, how profitable it's doing, how well it's doing, how good it is for Jamaica. And then we're going to go into how the staff may think about it. So again, Megalian is reminding us to unsubscribe from CVM and TVJ, etc. I know sometimes we accidentally subscribe. I caught myself and remedied the situation. So he's really saying, let's make sure that we big up UIC Liberty TV. So do me a favor now, and like, share, and subscribe. Get all your family and friends to subscribe so that they can hear from us. So let's have a look now at this quick video on the BPO sector in Jamaica. All right, let's take a look here.
Jamaica's business process outsourcing BPO sector up to April exceeded some pre-pandemic benchmarks. Now, the sector is aiming to provide 50,000 jobs and $1 billion in revenue. However, insufficient housing for workers could impact that growth. Javon Keys reports.
In 2019, Jamaica's global services industry, which includes BPOs, earned $780 million in revenue. The first full year with COVID-19 saw those earnings declining by $80 million. However, the sector has already rebounded. As at March this year, the sector's labor force has exceeded 43,000 employees.
Our projections is that we're going to continue to grow strong in the next 12 to 18 months. We could be 55,000 based on the opportunities out there.
At the recent Outsource to Jamaica conference, President of the Global Services Association of Jamaica, GSAJ, Gloria Henry, says earnings are also rebounding, with the aim of reaching $1 billion per year.
Majority of our members are seeing new projects or have new projects in the pipeline, and some of those who reported new projects have over $70 million worth of projects lined up that will be coming into Jamaica.
But there is a challenge for the sector. Despite the growth strategy, lack of adequate housing for employees could impact its expansion.
Where are all of these employees going to live? In the Barnet Tech Park, we already have pre-COVID over 10,000 people working in there, and we're only 30% built out. So, we've got space in the Barnet Tech Park to employ well over 30,000 people. But the real question is, where are they going to live? And I think, that is one of the biggest challenges that we have as a country, and one that hopefully will be somewhat alleviated by the opening up of Montego Bay by the Mobe bypass.
Managing Director of Barnet Limited, operators of the Barnet Technology Park, Mark Carr Jarrett, says JAMPRO and the private sector.
So a bit of propaganda there. What they're really trying to say is that, they need more housing to be provided by the government, in consultation with them, of course. So they have to get preferential treatments to get into the construction sector. But that's a side issue. But that's really what the gist of the story was trying to achieve by guiding us to give them more preferential treatment. But the big issue, or the big piece I want you to take away from that clip, is the amount of money that they're talking about here, $1 billion. And that was 2 years ago. They were projecting that. The sector employs over 50,000 Jamaicans. And of course, that's a large portion of our labor force. Many of them, mostly young people, for sure. The question is now, what are the conditions under which those Jamaicans are working? It's good and well that we have jobs being provided. We want jobs, we want investment, we want to build up our country. But what kind of jobs and what kind of policies surround these jobs? And in the end, what will it do to our people? Will it be like bauxite mining where you come in and you rape the country and then leave us with a bad situation? Or will it be the kind of investment that lift our people along with those companies that are coming in? I love the Singaporean approach because they balance the development of their people with the development of their economy. What we have in Jamaica is a situation where the economy may be growing or booming, so to speak, but that's not being felt by the people. It's not trickling down because their model is a trickle down economics model. What we need is a grassroots economy that works from the bottom up and lifts our people up in the process. But let's hear quickly from this young lady, and then we're going to come back. But before I do that, actually, let me bring in my guest now and just have him introduce not himself, but the story. Good morning, John Doe. Thanks for being with us. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm there still, I'm not 100 because a whole heap of things are going for, disturb the whole thing. You see me, I say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give
Yeah.
thanks for the opportunity for share with the ones them, some of the things them we are going, you understand me, I say? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not pretty at all. It's not pretty at all, may I tell you. And with all the passing our bridging, may I tell you, be a little speculation and this and that, and you see me? Nobody not to mention it like say, oh, like with life no matter. In fact, a woman call with cash cow brawling already. A manager, account manager call with cash cow. I may say you put it up on the thing, and I say, yeah man, real talk. So you see how them pray, we are not nobody to them. We are just some people who just come for work. And if you can't do a work in the straight jacket with them put in, then them I make you know says like cut feet then. And nobody now pre say say oh no right and look at policy and thing where a straight jacket of people like them all try and muzzle you. No.
So just to be clear, John Doe, an account manager, that's like a supervisor, right?
That's well you could have called them about a person that like is that you would say like a department manager then. Put it that way
Okay,
then.
so this
Like
person,
like
have an account and they're responsible for, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20 associates or staff, right?
this person have an account where them have sub managers, yeah, and the
Okay.
sub managers them have associates. You
Okay,
understand?
so the account
So in fact,
manager is like
the
up
top,
there, so one level up,
yeah,
the
mm-hmm,
top level,
yeah,
near the top,
near the top,
and
near the
it's
CEO style, yeah,
right. So this account manager now have sub managers who have staff under them who are now working the
yes,
force and so on, right?
yes,
So
yeah, something like so.
this account manager, which is like a department manager, if you will,
Mm-hmm,
or a general manager almost, right? Says
yeah,
to you guys that you are cash cows.
straightforward, brawling.
So it's like your animals, It's like you're a herd of cows or you're
Yeah, just
a
coming for
gang of
work,
sheep.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
trade.
Yeah.
I want you say
And so
to we, I call we the
when you said
content.
that, go ahead. Yes.
When she say it, you want to know how we the contest a little thing, we the kind of talk about, the whole thing with here the man a talk about a while ago about housing, transportation is
Mm-hmm.
another big thing here. Because
Mm-hmm.
because of which are the location them you find people that travel out some distance for reach work.
Okay.
You
Right.
understand? So
Right.
more time you find say when people are gonna say, well, why on the can't make the people them walk there so go other location there? What and the man say, no, it cannot go that way. You have to come to this location because you want now yes so the program set up so if you can't make it other location, me no know is like them can't. So me I say, so you can't really set up the bus system because them have a look at bus system, but it's shoddy, you see me I say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But me say to them so we I say you can't set up the bus system so it facilitate, based on which are where I come from. Remember say some will left a way hours a night certain look away. You understand? And basically it's like them I say, oh, we already do our best. So I say so. How you wouldn't
So
if Uno can work with it. So and we I say if
give
we
me an
even change
idea.
up
Give me an idea of the scheduling. Like what time you get to work and get off work. What are some of the shifts that you have worked?
Let me tell you this. You can start from certain shift from start from early as 6 o'clock in the morning and can
Mm-hmm.
run up to 12 o'clock in the night, certain depend on how the thing set up. And then I certainly depend on account and depend on, you know what I mean? But you find some account where I go up to 12, 10, I mean 11, 12, yeah. Way up
So
in
when
the
you
hours.
leave work at 11, 12 o'clock, because Jamaica is a very interesting setup, right? Where you can hardly get transportation during regular hours, much more, at those odd hours. To leave work at 11, 12 o'clock and you're far away from work in terms of distance. That's difficult.
Yeah, man, but let me tell them about look a bus system situation where the
Hmm.
bus supposed to bring you come at your yard. I say more time when they
Okay.
bring you come exactly at your yard, it will drop you off at the closest spot as it were. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Depending on how the
Hmm.
thing go. You understand? But at
Hmm.
the end of
Yeah.
the day, we have to just work with whatever them have in place. So even if the
Hmm.
system, the transportation ships, and I mean, you hear people complain about it all the time, how shoddy it is. And we just say,
Hmm.
yo, if I so now go set it, make it the bus system more convenient for we, so we can actually get here on time because them place the time strict, brother.
Hmm.
Time is strict.
Hmm.
It's like you have to clock in, and then when you clock in, if you have system issue, then we all use the system issue for say, yo, Ray, and you never in at certain time, so you may not get paid. Them have some policy and some style of straight mind game in other places. In them
Hmm.
places, a straight mind game, everything for kind of keep your money away from you. And if them would have met the thing, I'ma tell them say, if you could have made the thing better, the whole of we could have benefit. But them now, I don't think nobody really try make it better per se. Maybe outset right now, them can benefit and we can just be cash cow, put it that way. You understand? So it
Hmm.
look like I just that are going. You understand? I can understand how people been a complain, brethren, and all no, nothing. No union can farm. Listen, me and one girl say we for farm union.
Let
We
me hold
can.
on before you go into that. Before you go into that, let me play this clip from this young lady that's talking about her experience and see if you have a similar experience with her. All right, let's hear it.
To remain anonymous, says workers in the industry are facing unfair treatment but are not speaking out because of fear of losing their jobs. Prince Moore has the details.
The employee told TVJ News the poor treatment has not abated with the current work-from-home arrangement due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The first complaint relates to salary.
We're told that, you're working from home, so you're supposed to maintain the same level of transparency that you maintain when you're in office. However, I don't think we're being treated as if we were in office, because if we have an issue with our system or anything of the sort, and it causes us to log out to get it straightened out, then we are not paid for the time out of the phone. We're being told that that is considered unproductive hours.
She says if the workers were in office, they would not have been penalized for a system problem. In addition, the employee says her electricity bill has more than doubled, and the company has indicated that no help will be provided. The call center employee gave details on what she described as restrictions.
We have a lot of things that we are hearing. Oh, you have to do it this way because the clients want it this way. You cannot be this, you cannot be that. When you work at a call center, and this is the honest truth, you do not have a life. You're told you work 24/7, and you have to sign off on that. So it's either you take it or leave the situation. And persons such as myself, yes, we are truly grateful that we are able to work from home. We still have a job, but we are also human beings, and being treated unfairly, you know, it's irritating, because if they're telling us to do this, but then you're doing something totally different. And we're complying with all the rules and restrictions, and we're trying our best, but that seems to still not be good enough. So if the Prime Minister is listening, please, sir, I'm asking you to see if you can implement something that protects your people.
She says the voices of BPO employees need to be heard.
Now, I understand that the Prime Minister encouraged the whole call center situation, but I'm hoping that he can reevaluate certain things about it, like consider getting a union for us here. Because at the end of the day, they are more seeking out Jamaicans because I am of the understanding that we will accept them at a lesser rate. So they're quicker to come here. So he should be the one protecting us then. Organize a union for us, allow us to have a voice, because honestly we don't.
Prince Moore.
Yeah, that's really sad. So the lady's saying they don't have a voice. They wish they had a union, and it's like they don't have a life. They're working some very significant shifts, and they're really kind of wage slaves, if you will. What are your thoughts on that, John Doe?
We can relate on the whole of what she said, man. The only thing me that I said something to you earlier on and give thanks to you show the video. But I see a video like this before, the same news thing me did see. I mean, I said a girl what she said I could have relate, but at the same time, what I said to her, I said if the government put in a organize no farmer union for we, it not gonna work. We have to go organize ourselves in a union. Feet work because the union people them going to represent for maybe them not work in a BPO. So them not really probably going to understand the type of the government do it. Them now going to understand what we really feel and experience. You understand? Them would just a report to the government who organize them. So may I say to all the BPO people, we have to go organize ourselves because we are feel it. Brethren, I say my brethren dead, my colleague dead on the work. You hear what I say?
Explain that to me. What do you think accounted for his death or could account for a person's death on the job? You were telling me something earlier when we spoke offline about how the sick policy work and so on. Explain that to me.
Watch this. Them claim say you get sick days, yeah? But at the same time, them have some policy where set up say if you take the sick days, then you're gonna lose your work. Check that. So in other words, now them like my tell you say you can't take. All right, during a training period or a probation period, Zine, is like them tell you say if you take over 3 days, you're gonna get put off of the account, and you go up on one thing what them call bench. Are the only place me see them have a thing named so bench. And when you're up on bench, I want to start tell where I tell you about that in a look a while. But the sick thing now, you come to booth and say I take one sick day, yeah, and say all right. You're sick enough, say you're sick legitimately. Or you know life happen and whatever, but you're sick, you say I take a sick day. And then them comes and say, them are give a kind of reprimand. Because you take the sick day, you're supposed to legally, you know what I mean? But it's like them don't want you call in sick, none at all, no day, no time. So you want to look when especially when you're in the early stage, you really don't want chance it certain look away. Because as I said before, you will lose the local work. You hear me tell you will lose the local work. So all of the new people them, especially when them just come on, no matter where them I got you, and you know, so when they just come on, I want the wickedest time in the car. You just get to work, you broke. Things are set certain look away. You can't wait to get the first salary. You see me I say, some more time it's wicked. Where I forgot you for reach pan the work. As I tell you, say some people travel from far, my brethren. You get what I mean?
No, for you to get to work for 6 in the morning, what time would you have to leave home to get to work for 6 in the morning?
Depend on where you live, for me personally, when I live too far from the company where me work with, and I suddenly meet me and tell you about it, and this is me work, You get what I mean? But at the same time, remember say, me probably live just walking distance. Some people live far, you see me? Far out. So some people would have to get up like earlier than if at 6 o'clock them for reach work. We jump out all from all, but at 4 o'clock them have to jump out depending upon where them are come from. Just reach work.
And the transportation system here doesn't follow very good scheduling. So you can set your watch and know that, okay, I step out at 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to get a bus that's going to come at this station, this particular bus stop at around 5:05. And it will get to this other point by
no guarantee.
No guarantees. But if you're late for work, though, you're going to suffer some penalties. So.
Yeah, man. We are talking about, man. I write up, man. All kind of thing. I don't call it coaching or whatever it is. You understand? And I don't think that appear themselves.
So no matter of the sickness now, if you get a BPO job, you're afraid to be sick.
You're dead, I'm a general.
You're scared to death because
you don't want to be sick. You could have lose the work. You understand? So I don't know,
Yes.
me appreciate that how all our local brethren, you know, is like, so the dog would have feel all. Maybe, well, clearly he never feel well and him forward on the work. But we have tried find out if him did call in, and it's more than likely because how the policy set up, them tell you point blank, say, if whatever the case, call in. You understand? Don't just, them have a thing where them say no show, no call. It's like termination type of thing, especially when you're young
So,
pan of the business.
so they have us by the neck, man, because in
Right.
Jamaica, it's hard to find any work, right? You don't have a whole heap of options to find a
Right.
job.
BPO are the
So,
biggest thing I know.
so BPO is the biggest opportunity for most young people right now in Jamaica. So these companies are in a monopolistic position almost because you have a lot of young people looking for work with all kinds of qualifications. First
True.
degree, second degree, no degree, diploma, certificate,
Yeah.
high school. So all looking for the same job. So basically, they can now treat you almost like a slave and pay you a slave wage because your options are limited. So when them say, listen, if you call in sick, even though you have a right to be sick, even though there's a policy concerning sick leave, if you call in sick, you may be benched. That's a term I heard about the sector. You may be benched. What does that mean?
You know, the worst thing, man, tell about my experience so you understand what it mean. Me get bench already for calling sick. I mean, I tell you something, I never do nothing wrong, no, brother. I do all of what them tell me for do in terms of the policy, you know, brother. You know, them tell us if you're sick, if you call in, if you, whatever, at certain time, you know, wait until after certain hour for calling, you call in before, if you know, say, you're not going to show up for work. You understand? I do that. I do what them tell me for do. I not lie to you. I tell the whole of Jamaica. I not tell them I do exactly what them tell me for do. I'm sure I bring in when I call in the first day and tell them say I not go forward because I'm sick. The lady try said to me say, yo, try come in, you know, cause you know the part no lie. The third day, cause 2 day I sick, 3 day I sick, but it was about same right after the other day. Put it that way there. It never consecutive, you that's it. But I said it because all the policy says out them say if you miss 3 days and a training Medina to at the time, remember. You understand? Them say if you miss 3 days, you get sent home or go up on bench, terminate or go up on bench, them not gonna use you. Now, and the last week of my training, this happened with me and my brother. I tell you, say, I actually get sick away and me I say, yeah, I can't even, I couldn't even talk. I text in to make them know what I go on. Say, yo, I can't reach, you know, and me I show the ladies a vomiting situation and I can't even jump in a man taxi, you know. I have to watch what I do. You understand? So I sure I say, I now go jump in and she remind me about the policy. So I tell her, I say, yeah, man, I know what the policy say, but remember, say, my health and my relief. If I could have come more forward, is me, but I can't reach. Anyhow, they make the decision already against me. May I tell you straight. Long and short of the story, at the end of the day, even though I'm sending the doctor thing, and it showed me something to get 5 days, I didn't even take the 5 days, you know. I didn't even take the 5 days, I take less than the amount of day what the doctor give me. I go back in and work. And the people them decide say, hey, what? A bench for you, you know. Yeah, man, we Dave now wait, those I put up out on a bench, man, and call me up in a meeting and I tell me, say, yo, them are fact find when them do them check and balance and realize I'm never in a breach. And the people them it's like I don't know if I vex them vex or what. People them just put me out for 3 months, brother. And me I call and I call and I text and I call and I say, yo, what go on? How comes people not employ people and me a part of the staff and nobody now call me, nobody now text me, I'm not part, me now employee still. Yeah, man, you're employee still. So me I say, so, oh, the company I take on people in a on different account and even on the account of me they depend, the previous account of me they depend because I moved and they move me from one account to another account. And the police that when I take on and nobody now call me. More know what go on. I say, I want to send me a pay slip. What go on? What go on? Me I wonder if I still work with the company. And some disrespecting I go on and I go on and tell me for fool. At the end of the day, a ministry of labor me have to tell the people them about before me get back on the work. You understand? All because I fall sick, I'm actually do the protocol and them like them vex same way. And I pay look a style I'm going right now them all the two in me, you know, I tell you, you know, I know what I'm going in a car. I just I tell them I have mindful of what I say in the car. I don't know who all are listening thing, you know, all kind of people, you know, and me's a man where yo, you have, as I tell you, I have to know where I did in the game, you know. Because I tell you, say, I'll me them try muzzle me too, you know, because them don't want me talk all my story, you know. Them don't want me talk my story.
So John Doe, they give you 3 months of no pay. That's because you called in sick and because you you complained, I guess, with the treatment.
No, I never had a complaint, I just call in sick and just show and present the document them. And
Okay,
then
the doctor's note.
yeah. I'm gonna
See?
present that now. It's like I don't know where them are free. I don't know if them free, if them free. I don't know where enough for them headspace. Them call me up in a meeting say, yo, them are check fact find. But the fact find only shows me that do the right thing same way.
So hold on. So
And
the fact finding is because you called in sick and you got a doctor's note and brought that in, followed all the protocols. They called you in to check what? What were they asking? What did they say to you when they called you in?
it's long and short, the meeting never even last in a while. Them they just want to know, or the HR they just want to know, because it's like the company now know. We never know if I put it all them things set up because all of them things out you figure out a filter through HR don't. Them sick leave thing I don't. HR pick up the document and it's like me have to say to HR and the meeting, look and see. Because on the system is sending the sick leave. You understand? Look and see say a
But why did
5
they
day the
call
sick
you
leave.
though? Why did they call you in? What did they say? Go ahead.
What them want to do, I don't know if I have to validate themselves or validating me. I don't think so I did for validate me. But maybe them that look a reason for say, all right, we talk to him and we give him the script. Yeah, I go up on bench, long and short. It's like I just start them the call to tell me. I don't see another reason because everything else they did already known. So it's like them say formally I say, here we go on. As you know the policy say, you miss 3 days, you go up on bench. So even though we know all the way I tell we I put you out for 3 months. Or put you out for a couple of days, we don't know how long. Just like that.
So they didn't tell you initially how long they're gonna put you out.
No.
Okay, so you were just out. They said, okay, you miss work for 3 days
a week.
because you were.
Yeah, meetings are maybe a week or a month.
So you missed work for 3 days because you were sick, where you provided doctor's note and everything like that. And then they say, all right, the policy is you miss work for 3 days, you're going to be on some form of a suspension.
Well,
right?
Them are probably tell you say it's not a suspension, it's just a policy.
Right. So if you miss work for 3 days, they're going to give you time off.
It may not understand it. It don't make no sense, Virgin. I reprimand them, for time and I.
So basically you're being reprimanded for being sick. So you're sick, and you reported sick. You followed the protocols according to you, and so they're saying, okay, even though you followed the protocol, we're going to give you some time out, whatever that means. Now your timeout lasted for 3 months, where you got no communication and you got no remuneration, and you had to call and follow up and say, what's going on? Why am I out? You're not calling me, you're not anything, you're not assigning me any role, but you're still saying I'm an employee, but I'm out for 3 months, right?
Exactly.
And
as me
during
tell you,
that
I
3
can't
months,
have to use certain phrases, ministry and labor phrase, and as some say people pick up fast.
okay, so you're calling now and you have to threaten that you're going to take them to the Ministry of Labor in order for you to be treated fairly as an employee, right?
All right.
And so that changed the situation. You got called back into work, but now you're walking on pins and needles. You have to watch your step.
All right.
And you are seen now as a troublemaker.
Right now, me have to know what me I do. Me not telling a lie. Me have to know what me I do. So me not tell you say, I think me made a talk earlier. Me I share say them try to all muzzle me, cause me I share my experience with my other co-worker them, and as you know, people it's like you're on a slave plantation, and you chat with the other ones them, and I still tell them what you go through or what you've been through, and somebody hear it and I carry that word and I say, Jerome, go through that, till it reach a certain age and people start carry on away. People get a call, me get call, brother. Phone call reach me, HR, them ears say me I do this, and me for cut that, I for stop that,
Hearsay doing what? Hearsay doing what?
Them ears say the word that them said to me that may I create negativity.
Okay, so you're talking to other staff about the conditions, and you're expressing your concerns about the working conditions, about the policies, the behavior. And of course, that's going to make you a troublemaker in their eyes because you are fomenting dissent. You're causing people to want to rise up. And they don't want that, They don't want you to join a union, and they don't want you to rise up. They want you to be a docile, compliant little cow. Because you're a cash cow, remember. So you must be a docile, compliant little cash cow. And just dutifully eat grass until them slaughter you. But I have a concern because I am guessing all of this condition may lead to some serious stress and tension in the minds and lives of the employees. Not because of all the other problems you have, because all of us in Jamaica, especially those of us who are not in the upper 10%, we endure a lot of stress. The stress of light bill, energy cost is very high. The stress of transportation, trying to get from point A to point B and the cost of that. The stress of trying to find a job that's going to give you a decent income to pay for the grocery. Because I've noticed in my grocery bill that it has now gone up more than 100%, over the last 2 years. So there's a lot of stress happening otherwise. And now when you go to this place to work, it turns out to be very stressful because you can't even call in sick and follow the protocols without still being possibly victimized for doing so. And that can lead to serious mental stress and mental disorder and mental health issues, don't you think?
I can tell you something. You know, say, and at the same time, when I go check out for that same issue, doctor medical thing there, and at the same week, I sit down and I talk to the doctor and I tell her what I feel. And the doctor says she's familiar with what I say, the amount of people, youth people, young people come at the, up at the medic and I share with her. She says a known thing among medical professionals, the type of mental stress where young people go through and the amount of time we have to prescribe this and prescribe that because we have to dip and pill because when you go on, it's like you walk in with a leash on your neck and a brother. So so the mental pressure no normal in them place there, The medical professional them will tell you because them know say facts we are talk, but we are go through. Yeah man. Real talk, man.
So would you say then that we have a government that is facilitating a sector that may be infringing on the rights?
Maybe no, that is infringing. Not maybe,
is infringing on the rights and diminishing the dignity of our young people in order for them to report a low level of unemployment?
I agree. I look on the fact, I share something with you. As you said a while ago, a whole heap of bright people in them place their work. You understand what I say? I'm looking at it and I say that the best is them can do for the education and talk about and promote education and the best is you can do for we. And we in them place their work and based on the type, the lowest standard we provide for the youth them working. It's like all them are pre and money. All them are pre and money. Them not pre in the lives of the youth them.
So what they're doing is really saying Jamaica is a place for multinational corporations to come and get cheap labor at the expense of the health and well-being of our people. So they're willing to sell out the people, work them for cheap, destroy their mental and physical health in the process, allow these companies to come in, rape the nation, and then leave behind a damaged goods, damaged people, psychologically, mentally, even physically damaged people, while they have taken out what benefit they can get. And by the way, I'm not against BPO. I think business process outsourcing is a very good opportunity for a country like Jamaica, which is just next door to the US, for example. We speak English normally, and we have some bright people here in this country. Why can't we structure the economy around BPO to treat our people with dignity and pay a decent wage that allow those persons to enjoy a decent standard of living? Why everything about Jamaica must be cheap labor? Why not bring up the value of our human capital through our education system and ensure we're engaged in value added activities as well so that we can have a decent income? Why are we simply focused on finding niches that we can stuff our people into, whether it's sugarcane at one point or now BPO at this point? Why not have a diversified economy that gives our people options, that allow our people to have more diversity, more opportunity, rather than at any one point in our history you just cocoon it all into one or two sectors and then cause us to have a large number of persons seeking to get employment in one or two sectors, as opposed to having a number of well-developed sectors that gives us an opportunity to find employment and also to create employment across different sectors. Instead, we have a very government-centric society where government run things and the people are left at the behest of these narrow group of employers who then get to, treat us like wage slaves. What do you say to that?
Well, your articulation better than mine and a virgin, but yeah, at the end of the day, that are go on in a real life. You understand? Let me show you a thing. As you know the thing go, we don't work for Jamaican company. I'm gonna tell you something. It is so bad that we the Jamaican them who are working at them place here, would even get to observe Jamaican holidays. I mean know so the Prime Minister supposed to know about that when the whole of everybody else celebrate the Jamaican holiday. If you're scheduled for work, you have to go work. And them now tell you about on a holiday, you kind of holiday. I want you to know, so even if them have them overseas holiday and them tell you to come and work, so you really not get no time off. And as me tell you, sick day is an issue, really. So at the end of the day, I just work, 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 work. And as me say, nothing wrong, cause we love work, So now, so we eat the bread, man. We not fight against work. But we have to work in them condition, brother. Why it is that we have to, as you say, stuffed in them little corner and them little pocket here and rough up some way, and it's like if you can't rough up is like you are the problem. I know we are the problem. It's not we are the problem, Mr. Prime Minister. It's not we are the problem, head of these companies. It's who are the problem on the policy we have. But
As a
now
matter
really
of fact, really, what they've done, they keep creating a Jamaica where somebody else have to come and give you a job, as opposed to empowering and enabling our people so we can create our own jobs. We can employ ourselves. We can, we have to stop this mindset where we have to be waiting for others to come in. I mean, look at, for example, our retail industry. More and more, the industry is being taken over by others. Why? A number of reasons. One, we have capital. In the 1990s, under the FinSac situation, a ton load of capital was sucked out of the Jamaican population by the fraudulent banking system that the government had in place, which destroyed the wealth of many Jamaicans. So they have actually systemically made us, we indigenous Jamaicans here, they have made us capital weak. They've also made us even mentally weak in many instances because of the kind of education system. And then they cripple us with regulations and red tape and excessive taxation, and then give the benefits to outside people to come in and inject new capital that gives them, the politicians, and the small segment of society called the PSOJ oligarchs, a lion's share of the wealth of the nation, and then give control of our land and control of our industries to external parties. And so they now get to control the overall economy and oppress and depress and suppress the people of Jamaica. That is what is going on. And because we, the people, are being made weaker and weaker, we're not standing up. Look at when they gave themselves the 300% raise. What happened? A few of us went out and made a bit of noise, and then it died down. They still get to keep their raise that they have. Now they're about to give $14, $15 million per month to SSL employees under the idea that they need to keep them there to carry out the investigation, which is foolishness. And they're telling us now that no, it's not really taxpayers' money, it's going to be monies they took from criminals, which is ridiculous because the monies they got from criminals, they got using taxpayers' money to investigate and prosecute and then collect those resources. So in effect, all of those monies belong to us. But the bottom line is government policy remains the biggest hindrance to the development of the Jamaican people. It's policy that's allowing the BPOs to do to us what they're doing to us. Would you agree?
Indeed. Welcome to Jamrock, man. That a go on. And every time you hear them say it, because I'm not afraid to tell you, the policy, the policy, the policy. Like how we write the policy. I know we write the policy. Me have a question a couple things. Me say what about our policy what we have. How it is that when we're going to them contract with them people, it's like we not a policy. So it's like we have to just assume whatever policy them give we and them a tell us the contract. Remember said even we write the contract, you know. So you see, them not really care about nothing about you. The contract is oriented towards our them pre and I for them policies. Like you never write the contract, you not on a policy, you not nobody, you just come for work. You
Yes, well,
understand? So
it
that's
really speaks to a lack of leadership. Eh? It means our government, our politicians, those I hate to say we have elected because the truth is we haven't really elected them. They were forced upon us by the PSOJ oligarchs who fund the politicians that they want, who fund the parties that they want. But really, we don't have the political leadership to ensure that the contractual arrangements between employer and employee is such that the employee is not disadvantaged or the employer is not given rights it shouldn't have or denied rights it should have. So we need leadership at the governance level to ensure that the playing field is properly leveled and is properly monitored and is properly engineered to bring out the best outcome for all of us. And we're missing that. But let's take a few comments that I'm seeing here on the on the live. Let me see what people are saying. I see where Dr. Coretta Brown Johnson, the chairman, the new chairman. Congratulations, by the way, Miss Dr. Coretta Brown Johnson, and being recently elected as chairman for the UIC, replacing Mr. Winston Wright, our illustrious chairman, who is now the VP for Cornwall. Welcome, Dr. Brown Johnson. She says, truth is a known fact that the mental strain, I guess she's going to say the mental strain is killing us. And I see Elvira Samuels on. These smart and brilliant young people can be trained as teachers and nurses. Their brains are not being utilized properly. Yes, and also industry. We need our young people to be in industry, producing products and services and selling those locally and internationally. And the problem we have is that we have cocooned our young people into just being, job seekers only, not empowered to show their full brilliance in what they can create and produce. And you see, for you to do well, the environment must be designed for you to do well. I mean, yes, you can struggle and seek to overcome the many obstacles, but only so many can do that. And Jamaica has a lot of gatekeeping, a lot of restrictions. Politicians try to control every gate, every avenues, and say if you don't go through them, you can't really do as well as you need to. And then, of course, the PSOJ oligarchs that funds them and control them are the superpower, over that. But I sense, though, Mr. John Doe, that a key part of this thing is a scare tactic. They want to scare everybody who comes to the BPO into simply going along with and even giving up your rights in order to keep a job, a relatively low-paying job, but better than zero, because nobody wants to be unemployed and to be broke. So you still have to go and try to eat a food, so to speak. But they are taking advantage of a bad economic design by the government. They're trying to take advantage of that to say, listen, you need to give up any rights you think you have in order to continue to be on the payroll And if you fail to do so, we know what we can do, because for every one of you that we fire, there is 20 others
Thousand,
begging,
100 more.
yeah, waiting in the wings. So they're using that against you, the scare tactic. Is that what you're feeling?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
So it's farm
You
work.
understand?
It's farm
A
work that
manager, a
they
dog
bring
eat
farm
dog
work
world,
to
man.
you. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, man, me hear you say it a while ago, farm work. A real
Yeah.
farm work situation, man, is like you get your ticket for go foreign, man, just that you not actually go. But an American company and them company that I work with, so it's like, say, it's like a fly out panel on the same way. And you have to
But
mindful now.
you're not getting American minimum wage.
Tap it no man, tap it no man,
So
tap it
I
no man.
mean, so what happened? So the BPO, and by the way, can you tell me what's the salary like? What's the rate of pay like?
It vary depending upon the accounts, cause some account
Give me
would
one.
have
Tell
pay
me
like
one.
$350 US, and that would have be like for the month, something like so. Not for the
Oh,
month,
three,
like for the
350 US
fortnight,
for the
something like
month.
that.
Okay, so
Yeah, like for the
350
fortnight, like for the
for the for,
fortnight,
oh, for
something
the
like that.
fortnight, for the fortnight. So
Yeah,
let me use 147 rate. So that's like $51,000 every 2 weeks. So if you stay there for the full year at 26 bi-weekly pay, you end up with 1.3 million. So the truth is, there's so many Jamaicans who are not making $1.3 million a year that they want this job. Yes,
right
sir.
now,
Badly.
right now,
Badly,
badly.
because I mean, there's nothing else I go on for you, So you want this job. Now let's work this out a little bit here. Let's divide this by 52, which is weekly would be 25,575, and let's divide this by a 40-hour week. So roughly $643 an hour, and let's divide that by the current exchange rate of say roughly 155. So that's like $4.15 US an hour that you're making. $4.15 US an hour. Now, in the US, the kind of going rate right now for minimum wage would be somewhere, depending on the state you're in and so on, but somewhere in the range of about $14 to $15 an hour. That's all.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Real talk. Me I tell you something.
So,
Our staff member them will work outside of Jamaica. We and them are do the same work that we are get two different pay. And at the
yeah, well,
same
and we know
work
that. We know the same work, different pay. Now, there are many reasons for that, but one of the reasons why a BPO company would come here is to reduce their payroll costs so that they can be more competitive. So I'm not blame them for that. But what you want to happen though, you want to make sure that as a government, you have not created a situation where your people are dependent on somebody coming here and offering them the lowest rate possible. You don't want to build a more successful economy than that. But doing the math here quickly, if let's assume the minimum wage roughly is $15 an hour in the US, it would mean that you are being paid 27 or 28% of what they would have to pay somebody in the US to do the same job. So they're roughly, for the same job, they're saving roughly about 72%. That's a huge savings if you're going to save about 72%. Now, if you're saving that much, what would it take for you to simply make sure that you make that up by having good working conditions? A good bus service to bring your staff back and forth if that's going to be helpful. A lunch policy, a sick policy that is humane, and other perks and allowances. So you try to create a very healthy and happy environment that you can attract good employees and keep them. Now, the reason why they don't have to do that is the same reason why during the slave trade they would take a vessel and ram it full of Africans from the continent of Africa and ram them in there and travel from Africa all the way across to the Americas. And They don't care that a big number will die during the passage because they have enough of them to waste. So in Jamaica, we have enough people without work, enough people who are begging for this $4 US an hour, enough people who are dying to get the $4 US an hour equivalency, that they can afford to mistreat the Jamaican people and treat them with disregard and show no respect for the people of Jamaica and deny them the little dignity which all human beings should be afforded, because there are enough Jamaicans going around to waste. There are enough Jamaicans going around that they can afford to abuse. There are enough Jamaicans going around that they can afford to say, if you do not do as I say entirely, we can just fire you because there's 100 more waiting for your job. That's all.
Welcome to Jamrock. Yeah, man. Yeah. Welcome to Jamrock. I see at the setting, my brethren.
Yes.
At the setting. And this is a job creation. Yeah.
So and we cannot assume that simply switching one of the two colonial parties for the other is going to do the trick. Because both parties have engaged in the same tactic of devaluing and selling out the Jamaican people over the 80 years that they have been in power. Whether they're in government or opposition, it's the same thing. They buy their time in opposition, play the game of telling us how much more they're going to do better if we elect them, and simply they go in and do what their masters tell them to do. And it's the same master, the PSOJ oligarchs. But I want to play one thing for you before we go. Here's how the final piece of the puzzle, how they're going to scare more of us, more Jamaicans. And our government is a part of this scare tactic to tell you that AI is coming. And so you need to be thankful even if we're paying you $2 US an hour. Let's take a look.
Chisholm. There is uncertainty about how the business process outsourcing sector will be impacted by advanced developments in artificial intelligence. Local stakeholders have, however, expressed confidence that as AI advances, the BPO sector and the talents needed will evolve. Javon Keys reports.
One expert says based on the unpredictable trends in the technology, it's difficult to say exactly how the global services sector will be affected by the advancements in artificial intelligence. Market data expert and CEO of US-based firm Trends Owl, Stephen Lloyd, says AI could be a major disruptor to operations in the business and knowledge process outsourcing sector.
What we've seen within the last 6 months or less than that with OpenAI and ChatGPT is it's doing things that, quite frankly, is astonishing a lot of people. And it's astonishing a lot of very bright people. Some of these people are saying we might need to take a pause to get our sea legs on this thing, because the next iteration or the iteration after that, if it achieves super intelligence unexpectedly, no one really knows how that might impact not just the workforce but the world in diverse ways.
Vice President of Business Process Outsourcing and Logistics at the Port Authority of Jamaica, Gloria Henry, says, however, that as the technology evolves, higher order skills will be required in the industry.
Humans are needed to help to make the machines work in the way that they're designed to work. So there are opportunities for Jamaica's GSS to augment and to improve their productivity and to operate in new areas, new and emerging areas supporting AI and artificial intelligence-driven technology. We should not be fearful.
Industry Minister Auburn Hill agrees.
Artificial intelligence is here. It's new. We don't even know where it's going to go. But I want to say to people who have fears that we went through that when nuclear energy was identified and used in the Second World War. But even then, enemies came together. We were looking at what is called mutual assured destruction, MAD. And that enemies came together and came to an agreement
that kept our world going for so many decades now. I'm sure that as this new technology comes, it will provide challenges, but we're smart enough to get together to find a way to manage it.
For the Business Day, I'm Javon Keys.
The U.S.
Yeah, so they're sliding in the idea of AI, and or the Prime Minister had warned us before as well, and so on. Nothing is wrong with technology. Technology is good. However, an economy which is not prepared, and a people which is not prepared, and a government which has not designed the solutions to support the people will ensure that the sector will further become toxic. And what do I mean by that? If AI become more prevalent in the sector, more a part of its delivery of the service, they'll need even less people. If they need less people, they'll treat those that they do hire with even greater disdain, because they know that they'll have not only 100 persons waiting for a job, but now 200. What do you say, John Doe?
And it's exactly my brethren. Cause at the end of the day, me hear them talk about this AI thing and whatever. Bear in mind, we are already of no value, We are already of no value. So when them think they jump in on the thing, them only show you exactly how little value you are of.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So say them time that the noose are got tight around your neck. When them think that you not for ask, cause now you might go on to say a privilege,
Exactly.
You understand? Your privilege are now for there, so so the noose well tight, you can't afford that. You could have got operate just like the machine. Cause already them a try for them tell a straight jacket to be able like say them tell about flexibility in other business in other sector. Yeah? There's no such thing as flexibility. Them not flexible is exactly what them want, you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
But them tell us you for flexible. So at the end of the day, I don't know how you for flexible in a straight jacket. I don't know that work. I'm gonna have to ask when them claims to them are gonna prop up them thing. Me hear them the minister brother say a while ago, we don't know where it's gonna go, but we're not in a fear when nuclear. Look at nuclear do the world. So if you could tell me say AI come in, you don't know, but we're not in a fear. And then our enemies came together. No way must sound progressive, I don't know if you never listen to him.
Yeah, so the enemies will come together and make sure that they oppress and suppress the rest of us, eh? So, John Doe, I know you have to run and I have to get to work myself. So let me thank you very much for being on to this morning. I appreciate it. And I just want to encourage you, let you know that suck salt through wooden spoon, as they say. Take time, draw your hand out of the lion's mouth, and play the game, bide your time, and look for your opportunity to exit on a graceful note, and build something else. I know you're trying very hard to survive within the system. It's not easy. Don't let them break you, and you just manage yourself accordingly so you don't cause yourself any unnecessary suffering in the process. So just try your best to make sure that you be cordial, be respectful, be as productive as you can, behave yourself as you can, as professionally as you can, and then just take your time and see if you can divert out of that sector into something more productive. But please know that the UIC is here for you and all Jamaicans who want a real change in this country. All right?
We appreciate that, man. Big up UIC. See, and big up the whole team. Same way.
Yeah, man.
Give
Thank
thanks.
you. Take care. Have a good one.
Sure.
All the best. All right, my friends. You saw the conversation. You heard the conversation. Our people is in a bad way. I saw a comment from Miss Samuels a while ago, which I really want to end on. If I can find her comment. She says, that's Alvira Samuels from St. Thomas. She says, modern day slavery. It will be difficult for these young people to start a proper, stable family. No wonder some of us are miserable against each other. My friends, The way that they have designed our country, the way that they have managed our country is making our people, our lives, our children, our communities, our country very miserable. There's only one way to change it, and it's for us to take charge, for us to take control. We cannot continue to depend on two colonial parties that are funded and controlled by the PSOJ oligarchs and the colonial masters. As long as we're depending on them to fix Jamaica, it will never be better. They have had 80 years to show us what they can do, and they have demonstrated without a shadow of a doubt that we cannot and we should not depend on them. And so the time has come for us to rise up Jamaica and tell them, time up. The time has come for us to say, enough is enough. We want a better Jamaica, and we're not going to ask you to give it to us. We're not going to ask you to build it for us. We are prepared now to build it for ourselves. We are prepared to design the Jamaica that we want. And so we have one simple statement. Tell them, time up. We have one simple position, that it's time for us as a people to rise up and go to the ballot box. We don't have to have a military coup. Let us have a ballot box coup. Let us have a ballot box revolution. We don't have to chop up anybody. We don't have to kill anybody. As the pressure build up, the statement goes, pressure bust pipe. Let the busing happen at the ballot. We have had enough murders, enough slaughter, enough violence. If they continue, the violence will continue to rise. But we need to take matters into our own hands. And the best way to do that is to join, volunteer, and donate to elect the UIC as your government, as your party, the People's Party, the Education Party, committed to working for you. We can do that. And so come September 22nd, I want to invite you to join me in Halfway Tree. On September 22nd, join me, Chairman Dr. Coretta Johnson Brown, General Secretary Charlotte Masada Patterson, Treasurer Lisa Abdul, Vice President Winston Wright for Cornwall, Vice President Chase Neal for Middlesex, and Vice President Jasmine Powell for Surrey, and all the rest of the UIC team as we descend on Halfway Tree to make a statement clear and powerful that the time has come, Mark Golden. The time has come, Andrew Holness. The time has come, Governor General. The time has come for all of UNO to leave. The time has come for us to tell you that your time is up. And so I invite all of you for September 22nd. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your co-workers. We're all going to be in Halfway Tree. Look out for the more details. We're going to have some more info coming out to you with the particulars and how we're going to do this. But really now, we shouldn't allow much more of this to happen. And it won't change unless we change it. So we're not even asking them for better policies. We're not asking them to give us good governance. We're not asking them to do constitutional reform. We, the people, will replace the Constitution. We, the people, will give ourselves the kind of good governance that we want. We, the people, will make Jamaica a better place with an economy that allows every one of us to be able to live, earn, and retire with dignity. We, the people, will create a safe, clean, and orderly Jamaica. We, the people, will stand up and protect the life, liberty, and property rights of all Jamaicans. We, the people, will take back the land that was stolen from our ancestors. We, the people, will restore Jamaica to the Jamaican people so that all of us can enjoy a decent standard of living. So again, September 22nd, Halfway Tree. See you there. Take care and have a good morning.